We are back with part 2 of our discussion with Rose, Donna and Christy in regards to their personal experiences with the COVID vaccine. So I wanted to ask, the fact that it's very well documented that this is still an experimental vaccine. We are not going to have the full scope of the studies released until 2023. Did that concern you at all when you were taking it, Donna?
No, it didn't, because I think basically the scientific world have the vaccines set aside and they just adapt them to whatever virus they're trying to vaccinate against. It's like the flu jab every year is changed for that particular virus that year. So I didn't have any misgivings, really.
The reason I ask this question is because it is an mRNA vaccine, which to date has never been approved. So even though we are used to seeing these new rollouts with the flu vaccine every year, and they obviously update other vaccines as developments in science happen, with the mRNA, because it's rewriting the DNA is my understanding, and then they put it in there to tell our body what we're meant to be doing. That wasn't a concern?
No. I mean, like I said, it was at first because it came through so quickly, but then when you see what the virus does, sure. I just thought, no.
And you guys working on the front line do have a front row seat to this, that so many of us don't. We're relying on what the media are telling us. Christy, I'll ask you the same question. The fact that it is an experimental vaccine at this point, and the mRNA technology hasn't been fully tested in terms of the long-term studies, was that a concern for you, or like Donna, you trust the science behind it?
At first, when I first received the vaccine, there was no doubt. Now I have a lot of concerns regarding that.
Sure. And so I know here in the US there are consent forms that are signed, and it states on the consent form that it is an experimental vaccine. And I understand that you were both in healthcare, but were there any discussions with the person who was administering the vaccine in regards to possible side effects that would happen for those that haven't been through the process yet?
Well, yeah, they did go through the basic side effects of the stiff arm. You might get mild symptoms, cold or fever, and to take whatever cold remedies that you would normally. And then they said if there are more severe reactions, to contact healthcare providers.
Sure.
So in Britain, it's like 111.
Okay. Did they go through what the more serious side effects could possibly be, or they just sort of focused on the main ones that most of us will deal with at home and be absolutely fine? Did they go through that in any sort of detail?
No, I mean, it wasn't great detail. Obviously, there was, like I said, the basic side effects. And if you felt any more severe effects, contact somebody. So, I mean, we all know basically that anything foreign that you put in your body, you can have a reaction to. That's what your body does. But, you know.
Sure. And Christy, I'll ask you the same question. When you were getting it, did they go through the sort of list of side effects?
The exact same. You may get COVID symptoms, basically the same verbiage that they would use with the flu shot with someone who had never received it before.
Sure.
And then here they send home a paper that explains the more serious side effects and when to seek emergency help, but it was very basic. Sure. The same.
On your sheet that was sent home, were tremors listed? Because there are about 4 or 5 people that I've seen online that are having similar symptoms.
No, tremors was not listed. And actually I have tried to pull up the updated vaccine information sheets, and tremors is not listed on those yet either.
Okay, so we're just going to change gears a little bit, and I'm curious as to, because this is such a controversial topic and everybody has an opinion, so I'm going to come to you, Rose. Have you talked publicly at all or privately with friends about not wanting the vaccine and your reasoning behind it? And I'm curious as to what the reaction has been to your stance.
Well, I don't see myself as having a stance or a position. I mean, others may see that, but I don't. You know, first I have to say my heart absolutely goes out to Christy and to Donna and the people working on the front line of this potentially fatal illness. But what I do want to say to answer your question is, I have an amazing group of friends. They're total, just blow my mind with how emotionally mature they are, and how, you know, the love of friends means that they don't judge you, and that they accept. I have to say, you know, I've had to, I don't speak to them an awful lot about it, but we have, like everybody else, had some conversations, and I've witnessed over the months some marvellous enrichment of conversations, actually, through understanding different perspectives. I have to say that.
Sure, thank you for that. And Donna, have you spoken publicly about getting the jab and not having a reaction, or has it been sort of a private conversation amongst friends and family?
I joined a group on Facebook, and it was, the write-up of the group was share your COVID experience, positive or negative, COVID vaccine experience.
Sure.
So I put on this group, proud to say I've had my COVID vaccine. No reactions so far. I think it was two days after or something, apart from the stiff arm.
Sure.
And if you have any comorbidities, I would seriously consider having it. I didn't say you must go and have this vaccine, it will save your life. But the reactions that I got, oh my goodness, I couldn't believe some of the reactions. You shouldn't be telling people that you must have this vaccine. I'm like, whoa, hold on. I was just saying, if you have any comorbidities, seriously consider it. It was amazing, really, the backlash from it.
It's incredible. I feel like on this subject, it's something that we can't win no matter which side of the fence we fall on, or even if we're in the middle. Christy, you have released a couple of videos talking about your experience.
The CDC and Moderna will see this video and do some more research to try to help the people that are having this kind of reaction. I have already spoken with 5 other people that are having the same symptoms that I am and are having the same struggles that I am, and they cannot get help. So I just want to say that if there's anyone out there, any doctors that can help me or that are willing to help me, to please reach out to me. My name is Christy Simmons, and you can reach me on my Facebook page. And if you reach me there, I would be more than happy to send you my phone number. Thank you so much. And I pray that everyone who is having these symptoms can find the help that they need.
And in those videos, you have very specifically said you wanted the vaccine, you were all for it. You also reiterated what you've said earlier in part 1, that you've taken every vaccine that you've needed to working in healthcare. What's the reaction been like online for you posting those videos?
Ranges from hatred to I'm a liar to I'm faking it to love and support. It's such a huge range, you know, and it's incredible how quickly people jump to conclusions that you would want to do something like this to get attention, or that you did it, for that you're against it. I made it very clear that I'm not against vaccines, and I'm not. But I have people that have lashed out and stated that if, for me, how can I still be for vaccines, and that I'm not a good person because I'm still for vaccines. But really and truly, the love and the support is what I really try to focus on most of the time. But it's been a rough episode on social media. I never dreamed that people could be that mean to someone who's suffering.
So, Rose, what has the reaction been like for you in your social circle when you talk about not planning on taking the COVID vaccine?
Well, I had, and I said, and this is absolutely true, that the circles that I move in, people are really emotionally mature, and I've been given enormous respect, and we've gone on quite a journey, really, because there's such such a breadth of feeling on this and deep emotions. But I think that what I have come up against is an issue with some of the things I haven't spoken about yet that I do want to speak about, which is the research that I've done, which I think really is relevant to how I feel about the things that we're discussing. So I have had a couple of well, maybe even 3 quite strong reactions, or even 4, of ranging from worry that I've been sucked into conspiracy theory, although I have, because I'm very centered, managed over periods of time to reassure my friends. And also, what worries me more than anything is sometimes I have had a feeling that if you take if you have found out something, or you found an article that's published in the Lancet or the BMJ or some other reputable magazine, or you've listened to a professor who's speaking out, or any number of whistleblowers within the health service, that suddenly you've become someone who's either a conspiracy theorist, been taken in by the far right. I mean, it's just laughable, really, but if it weren't so sad, it would be laughable. And I think that quite often it's so dangerous to relegate, because individuals who question things used to be applauded. Critical thinkers who question things used to be applauded. Now they're mocked and shamed. And there's a trend to call everybody who asks questions a conspiracy theorist or worse. So that is, I think, very, very dangerous, because what happens when they lump all conspiracy theories together, even some of those extreme ones, such as, I might say, well, what I think is extreme is maybe flat Earth theory. But then if you're taking something that's just a voice that isn't part of the political mainstream view, and lumping that into conspiracy theory, or lumping a dear friend into that realm. Not that I think people do that with me, because I haven't let my friend go that easily. If any of them would do that, I would grab their hand and continue talking, and they would continue listening, because that's what respect's about, isn't it? But even though they're getting conspiracy theory wrong, you have to look at the definition of conspiracy theory, and it involves a circular belief there has to be a circular belief that you believe something for which there is no evidence, and then the fact that there is no evidence is proof of the truth of it. But these you know, doctors and scientists are speaking out, care home workers speaking out, even politicians speaking out. You know, that those are particular groups of people, especially the, you know, perhaps the medical community and the scientific community, perhaps among all professions. Perhaps it's likely that they've, you know, got more integrity than most. So why are they going to be speaking out? So, you know, I have felt, I've been aware, let's put it that way, that there are immensely strong feelings out there, and that's why I say, you know, I don't get into any polarised position, because I think we're in a time of enormous change, and we have to be very, very centred and not at all aligned with any one position. Now, I don't mean sitting on the fence either, because that can be the coward's way. I'm talking about the bravery to be your authentic self. Yes.
Absolutely. So we are going to leave part 2 right there, and we are going to come back with part 3 and finish this conversation.